You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB Radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show. One of the most respected, patriotic, and brave things a man or woman can do is serve this country. Welcome to Vision of a Veteran. Spotlighting a veteran who served and may have gotten wounded. A lot of our guests have lost their sight or are vision impaired, and we'll hear their ups and downs of their lives and how to make a difference to support their brothers and sisters to navigate the waves. From the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this is Vision of a Veteran. Now your host, Benjamin Keeley. Produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International.
Boarded a flight, oh glory, turning back time to 73. They buckled up, pretty soon they touched down. This place to most of us is hallowed ground. They went to see Lincoln, took pics on the mall, paid respects to the greatest generation of all. And they knelt at the wall and they took off their caps for their Vietnam brothers who never came back. 58,178. They tried to count them and read every name. They're etched in our memories in history and stone. Thank you for all that you gave. Welcome home. Left unspoken for decades now. Oh, what a healing to let it all go. Oh, surrounded by brothers who know what you know. 58,178 for every soldier. This moment can't wait. You're etched in our memories. Let history atone. Thank you for all that you gave. Welcome home. 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 Their tongues were tired and their bodies were sore. And oh glory, she landed and they got up for the door. A crowd of 200,000 or more. Oh, with tears and great cheers for the welcome home, 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 welcome home.
Keith, thank you very much for that great introduction. As always, I appreciate it. And thank you guys for joining us. And that song was Old Glory, a song that we have in a partnership with an organization that we've been working with called Operation Song. And today's guest for us is Mike Byer with Operation Song's Executive Director. Mike, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
How about telling us about that song we just heard, man? It was awesome.
Yeah, so I tell you, this is really one of my favorite songs that we've written. It was written with Navy veteran Kim Mitchell and Nashville singer-songwriter artist Cindy Morgan. Cindy's incredible. She had a lot of fame back in the 90s, early 2000s. She's won 14 Dove Awards, and she's just so gracious to always write with us whenever she has a chance. But Kim was born in Vietnam. She was an orphan. Her father actually adopted her. He was a Vietnam veteran and adopted her from Vietnam. And so her father, being a Vietnam veteran, he had passed away some years before. So Kim, of course, being a veteran herself, she really had a heart for Vietnam veterans. She got real involved with honor flight. She would organize honor flights, and this song in particular is about an honor flight taking Vietnam veterans to D.C. and then bringing them home. And I got to tell you, it's, for me as a soldier, there's just something about, I've been part of, several coming home ceremonies myself, with my deployments, and something about this song, especially in the end when it talks about 100,000 or more were there to welcome those veterans home. It was just incredible. I still get chills every time I listen to the song.
It was a beautiful song. We really appreciate you sharing your music with us and, joining us today and talking about your organization and yourself. How about telling us your story?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually served in two branches of the military. I served in the Air Force first. I joined the Air Force in 92 and just wasn't quite a great fit for me. So I ended up getting out of the Air Force and joining the Army, and shortly after, and that seemed to be the place for me. So I served a total of 21 years in the Army, 14 of those years with the 101st Airborne Division, Iraq, Afghanistan, many other places. Did a lot of different things. I was a drill sergeant for a couple of years. I felt like wherever the wind blew, man, in the Army, I was there doing something. But I enjoyed it, loved it, and had a great career, and very blessed through it all. So yeah, that's my story, military story anyway. My elevator pitch.
Well, I appreciate for your service, man. And, you and I have known each other for a little while, but I think we've become good friends, and I love what you guys are doing over there, and allowing Wisdom for the Blind to play your music on our radio station during the podcast. And you got some great stuff there. So tell us about the organization you started and when.
Well, I wish I could take credit for starting it, but I didn't start it. Our founder, his name is Bob Regan. Bob was a Nashville songwriter for many, many years. Wrote Keith Urban's first big #1 hit. He wrote Thinking About You by Trisha Yearwood, Busy Man for Billy Ray Cyrus. You could go down the list. This guy's he's been phenomenal. He was the president of the Nashville Songwriters Association for many years, lobbied Congress for songwriters. He's what we call a Music Row treasure. And that's not me saying that. That's his fellow songwriters, in the industry. But Bob was doing these armed forces tours in the Middle East in the early 2000s. And he would talk to soldiers afterwards. And, he realized, wow, these guys have a lot of incredible stories. And, songwriters always looking for a good story. He thought, man, what would happen if we paired these two together? He's got a huge heart for the military community. And in 2012, he started Operation Song. And since then, we've written over 1,300 songs with veterans from World War II all the way up to Iraq, Afghanistan, including military dependents and Gold Star families.
Wow,
so it's just been an incredible organization to be part of. It's just amazing. Every day we get to help tell these stories. So,
and that's great. And the stories that I've heard are fabulous. Yeah. How many songwriters do you guys work with, and can you tell us some of their names?
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a pool of anywhere probably around 60 to 70 songwriters. Always adding new songwriters all the time, but we've got some gems, man. We've got David Kent. David Kent wrote Austin for Blake Shelton in his early days. Prior to being a songwriter, he also played keys for Hall and Oates. We've got Will Nance wrote "She's Everything" by Brad Paisley. We got Jim Collins. Jim Collins, he wrote a lot of great hits. She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy. You Gonna Kiss Me or Not? Steve Williams. Steve wrote Redneck Yacht Club. I mean, we can go on and on. There's just so many of these great songwriters that are using their time and their talent to help tell our stories. And I tell our songwriters all the time, I said, you guys have written some great hits in the past. I said, but that was all just to get you prepared for what you're doing now. These are your best songs here. And they all agree, of course.
That's very good. Of course, you can hear a lot of your music on Wisdom for the Blind Radio, but tell us about your, you also have an app that they can listen to too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got a free app. If you just search in, either the App Store or Google Play, either of those devices, you can download the app. We try to put new songs on there every Monday. We don't always get around to it because we're so busy, but generally every Monday. We also have use a site called Bandcamp. It's a typical site for like indie genre artists to promote their music, and we have a lot of the songs on there. We don't have the ability to anywhere yet to display our whole 1,300 plus catalog, but we're working on it. So, but those are two great places to be able to hear some great stories and songs.
It's great music, and just for our listeners out there, you can go to the Wisdom for the Blind website and go underneath our affiliates, and you'll see Operation Song's logo. You can actually go to their website, and you can also get the information about the app and everything right there. And we play their music throughout the day too, so listen to the radio station and hear some good tunes also.
Yeah.
I also believe that you do videos from some of the songs too. Is that true?
We do, yeah. We have some of our songs. Sometimes the veterans take it upon themselves and create their own videos. Some of the songs are so compelling that we work it out in the budget to get an actual video professionally done. We've actually just started we didn't start. It's been 2 years in the making, but we have what's called our World War II Preservation Project, which you've helped me out linking us up with a recent World War II veteran. And through this World War II Preservation Project, we not only write the story with these veterans, but we actually, when we can, go and actually interview them and create a video based off of that. One of those videos, actually, we just submitted to I can't remember what it's called. It's some sort of, video competition or something in San Diego that we submitted it to. Hopefully it'll gain some traction. But they're just incredible stories and
some great stories. And you did mention working with Ed. Ed's one of our World War II vets. And I actually just had a great opportunity. We just watched the Artemis launch, finally got up and sat next to him the whole time. And I tell you what, he makes me look ashamed. He was so excited to watch that, and all he did was talk about his conversation with one of your writers just the other day.
Yeah. Well, like I told you earlier, the songwriter we paired him with, David Kent. He texted me earlier, and he's just so excited about it. Loved talking with Ed, and just really excited about the song as well. So,
I'm looking forward to. Ed's going to be one of our guests coming up in a future episode, and we're hoping to have that song and share that during the kickoff and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty good. You guys have done some great stuff, and you've been in operation for now over 10 years. Is that right?
Yeah. So this is our 10-year anniversary this year, and when I came into the program, it was I actually was one of the first veterans to go through in early 2013, and I quickly realized. Dealing with some of my own issues at the time, after Afghanistan, I quickly realized that this has a lot of power and potential to help a lot of veterans. I knew if it could help me, it could help a lot of guys. So, I stayed close with Bob Regan over the years, and anytime he asked for something, I always said yes. And so 2020 comes around, and Bob is worked his tail off, and he says, "Man, I'd really like to retire. I've been working pretty hard." And so I said, "Well, I'll step in and take over." So I started in 2020, pretty much running the organization, and man, this is the best job ever. I enjoy it every day, and I mean, it's got its moments, man. We work hard. We're a pretty small staff, but our motto is to say yes to everything, and we'll figure out the how later.
It's great, and I really enjoy our partnership that we're building.
Absolutely,
and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
and we're gonna get ready to go to a break. But what I like to do, Mike, is we'd like to go to the break. But I believe that you have one of your first songs that you guys did, and it's one of your stories, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So, I talked about when I went to this first Operation Song Retreat. I didn't know anything about songwriting. I didn't know what this was. Didn't even really know Bob. I thought artists wrote, all these artists wrote all their own songs. I didn't know they were these, great songwriters behind them. And so I just kind of went not knowing what to expect. And it just so happens that the weekend prior, I had attended my son's basic training graduation down at Fort Benning. Now, to kind of back up a little bit, my son and I, he was a strong-willed young man, and he and I kind of fought a little bit. Well, we fought a lot about him joining the Army. I didn't want him to have to go through what I had and seen the things I'd seen and how I wanted him to join the Air Force. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's an easier life, but yeah, he'd always wanted to be a soldier. So, I couldn't stop him. And so we fought the day up till he left for basic training. And it was about 6 weeks into basic that he sends me this letter, and he's apologized and saying, "Dad, I'm sorry we fought. I understand what you're trying to tell me." He says, he goes, "I know you're retiring." He goes, "I know you're on terminal leave and you weren't going to wear your uniform again." He says, "But I want you to wear it one last time and present me my infantry cord at basic training." And so, man, what an emotional time. The very last time I wore my uniform, I'm standing there with my son and
wow.
Pinning his infantry cord on him. And it just became, for me, that became my retirement ceremony. And so then the following weekend, I go to this retreat, and I sit down with two songwriters, Mark Beeson and Travis Meadows. Never heard of them. Didn't know that these guys had written some monster hits that I've heard on the radio and loved. But they just sat down and they said, "Well, hey, man, tell me about yourself." And so I start talking, and I get to the point where I'm talking about my son, and Travis is just writing, and I'm thinking he's not paying attention, actually, was what I'm thinking at first, but he's literally writing down every single word I said about me and my son. And about an hour later, he stops, and he never picked up a guitar one time, never sang a melody, a verse, anything. And he just picks up this guitar and he starts playing this song. And it broke me down. It was just incredible. And that was me and my son's song. And so I was forever indebted to Operation Song after that, and just grateful for the process. And I knew the power behind it because I felt it,
That's great.
So I want to make sure other veterans have that as well.
And the name of the song is?
It's called Over the Wire.
All right. So let's hear Over the Wire. We'll be right back.
Last time I wore that uniform, I was standing with my son. The thing that scared me the most would he'd see and do all I've seen him done. I couldn't say a word as we stood there on sacred ground. He looked at me and said, "Dad, don't worry, it's my turn now. This name I'm passing down, this flame won't go out. One pair of boots will face the fire, the other pair goes over the wire." The hardest lessons I've ever learned were all about letting go. I don't care how strong you think you are, there's some things you can't control. And I can't live his life for him, but it helped me understand day I looked into his eyes and watched my boy become a man. This name I'm passing down, this flame won't go out. One pair of boots will face the fire, the other pair goes over the wire. One pair of boots will face the fire, the other pair goes over the wire. Yeah, my old pair is going over the wire.
VA's Office of Blind Rehabilitation Services estimates there are approximately 130,000 veterans in the United States who are legally blind, and more than 1 million veterans who have low vision that causes a loss of ability to perform necessary daily activities. In this era of instant communication, where we get overwhelmed with data or facts that are useless to unsighted individuals, wouldn't it be great if we could count on news focused on real problems that impact the daily lives of veterans without sight? Introducing Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, an advanced informational portal designed by blind veterans specifically for blind and vision impaired vets that, like them, are facing challenges every day. Hi, my name is Ben, and I know the frustration. I've struggled in day-to-day tasks for over 20 years since I lost my eyesight. One of my biggest challenges has always been trying to stay up to date with the latest information of my eye disease, local news, and the ever-changing technology. I wanted to be able to have one single site that merged all the data scattered, and that's why we created Wisdom for Blinded Vets. This is a portal that can be accessed via the web, a smartphone app, telephone, email, text messaging, or Amazon's Alexa. It integrates with readers such as JAWS or Apple's VoiceOver and various other tools to give you a seamless experience. This portal will keep us updated on a variety of topics and will share knowledge that can help make our lives easier and more fulfilled. Highlights of the topics covered on the portal include podcasts, events, news, blind rehab and training, information on the BVA and other groups, a list of coordinator and bros list, online groups to interact with fellow vets facing the same challenges, and much more. Give us a try. You will not be disappointed. To learn more about us, visit our website www.w4bv.org. If you're interested in sharing your knowledge, please consider becoming a contributor by logging into our portal and going to the contributor section for more information. Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, transforming blind veterans' lives.
What's more perfect than exploring new cultures while soaking up the sun and dipping your toes in turquoise waters? Doing these things with your family and, of course, your brothers and sisters from Wisdom for the Blind. Wisdom for the Blind is pleased to announce its first Caribbean Forum to be held on board Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. This dreamy vacation will be filled with thrilling experiences such as surfing, rock climbing, and even an electrifying 10-story plunge in the tallest slide at sea. This is not your average family getaway. There's fun and entertainment for all ages, but you'll also have learning workshops in technology and medical breakthroughs focused on the blind and vision impaired. We will sail from beautiful Miami on October 15th, 2023, visiting fabulous ports: Rotan in Honduras, Costa Maya and Cozumel in Mexico, and Royal Caribbean's private island, Coco Cay in the Bahamas. Add 2 spectacular days at sea, and while connecting with people that may experience the same challenges you do, you'll find unforgettable activities, make lasting memories, and soar to new heights. You'll learn about fascinating cultures and customs while tasting local delicacies and lounging in luxury. Wisdom for the Blind has also partnered with Operation Song, so you can have the opportunity to tell your service stories through songwriting. All of this and more starts at just $602 per person, based on double occupancy plus taxes and fees of $168. So what are you waiting for? Pack up your stuff, gather the crew, and head out on the open seas. You and your family will be talking about it for many years to come. Don't miss this great opportunity. Go to w4tb.org and find the button that says Caribbean Forum, or email us at forum@w4tb.org and book now. Space is limited. Don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
What a great song that was. What a great song, Mike. Tell us, man, what do you think about that?
Man, so we're talking about nails in the wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but not yours.
Oh, about mine.
Over the wire, yeah.
Yeah, so I tell you, man, it was incredible. To me, it was like, these songwriters were able to take what was in my head and put it down in a verse and a chorus and give it a melody, and it was just there was just something so powerful about that. And, even though that was a powerful time for me and my son, having a song to go with that, I had sent it. My son was actually stationed at Fort Hood at the time. And so I got a quick demo of the song that day, and I sent it to him. And he calls me back, and he sounded almost sarcastic, but he's like, "Yeah, thanks a lot, Dad." And I'm like, "You didn't like this?" And he goes, "No, I loved it." He goes, "You just made me cry in front of my soldiers, And I'm like, "Well, I was crying too, So, but it, the great thing about this is a lot of times we think that when we tell our stories, it's just our story and nobody else is interested, but every time I go somewhere and I sing that song myself and play it a lot of times when we go out and I perform, and every single time somebody comes up and they said, "That's me and my dad's song," or "That's me and my son's song." Every time, so many of these songs, the military community, we have so many shared experiences,
Yes,
and so
indeed.
These songs that come out, the veterans always think, it's just my story. Nobody's interested. Man, we're all interested because we all can understand and relate to this stuff,
And it's so true, our brothers and sisters and just the opportunities, like I said, sitting next to Ed, and we just took a bunch of vets to see that launch. It was great. And we just have such a good time. Now, you also do retreats, and that's basically how you guys started in the beginning, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So retreats, we do those we partner typically with an organization. We've got the very first retreat we ever did was with an organization called Warrior Outreach Ranch in Georgia. We work with the VA here in Nashville. We worked with the VA nationally. We work with the Cohen Center, Warriors Heart out of Texas, Shepherd Center in Atlanta. We got a lot of partners and organizations that we work with. But we partner with that organization and we take veterans from their population for a retreat. And we bring them together. We'll bring in songwriters. We'll do a little meet and greet in the morning. We'll pair them up, and then they'll go and work in a room and they'll work on the song for the day. And at the end of the day, we come back and we have a performance. So the retreats are kind of a real quick thing. And a lot of people are thinking, how do you get a song done in one day? Well, we do it. It always works. These songwriters are amazing, and they're able to, what we generally find is you sit down and you talk to somebody And initially, sometimes they don't talk a lot, but once you get them talking, after about an hour, they start talking about what's really important to them. And that's where the songwriters really kind of start getting into, the creation of a song and their craft. And it's just an amazing process. But that typically happens all in one day.
And then you can hear more of your music by going to your website. Can you tell us your website?
Yeah, so our website is operationsong.org, O-R-G. But we also, if you go to, like I mentioned before, if you go to bandcamp.com, that's you can hear a lot more of the songs on Bandcamp, and of course the app as well.
Don't forget, you can also go to Wisdom for the Blind Radio and
that's right.
Get some of that stuff too. Can't forget that.
That's right.
So a vet, if they're not part of the retreat, can they talk with you guys and get involved too?
Absolutely. So, I tell you, the one great thing that came out of COVID is that it offered us the ability to start reaching out to veterans across the nation individually. So if a veteran wants to write with us, they can reach us at contact@operationsong.org. And all you have to do is just send me your basic information, branch of service, time, dates of service, that kind of thing. We have some basic paperwork that we have to have you fill out. It doesn't cost you a dime. We'll never ask you for a cent to participate in this program, veteran or a military family member. And from there, once we get your information, we'll pair you up with a songwriter. Those typically don't happen in one day. We kind of let those work autonomously. So, it's based on everybody's schedule, the songwriter and the veteran's schedule. They work out the details of when they want to talk, how often they want to talk, and how they want to talk. And generally, those songs are 2 to 3 weeks in the process.
And the artists themselves, are the writers and the artists the same, or do you put them up with a band also, or how does that part work?
So typically our songwriters will do their own demos. We have a couple of our songwriters that are artists. Cindy Morgan, of course, she was a very well-known artist at her time. She does her own work. All of our songwriters typically do their own, but they're all incredible. They all do a great job. And occasionally, when we get lucky, it's like trying to win the lottery. But occasionally, we'll get an artist to cut one of our songs. We've actually, and Ben, you're going to see this when you come to the December 5th show. If anybody remembers the rock band Creed, Scott Stapp, the lead singer of Creed, just actually wrote a song with us, and he's going to be there at the show and he's going to sing it.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome.
Since we talked about the December 5th, let's talk about. So you're celebrating 10 years now.
Yeah, celebrating 10 years.
You're doing a big gig, right?
Oh man, it's going to be huge. I tell you, I am so excited. It's been an enormous amount of work, but I'm so excited about it. It's going to be held here in Franklin, Tennessee, just a little south of Nashville, on December 5th. We still have about 35 tickets available for anybody that's interested, but we're going to basically showcase songs we've written from World War II up to present day and Gold Star families. We're going to have our songwriters and some of the veterans there. It's going to be an incredible night. We've also, we have Jeffrey Steele. Anybody outside of Nashville probably hasn't heard of Jeffrey Steele, but I would tell you, if you listen to any song on the radio, this guy probably had a hand in writing it. He's incredible, and to me, he performs the songs better than the artists do. He's going to be there. We've got, of course, Scott Stapp of Creed, who's going to be there. He's also going to sing a surprise song for us, not just the one he wrote, so that's going to be awesome.
That's going to be great.
If you've heard of the comedian Nate Bargatze, if you haven't heard of him, look him up on YouTube or wherever. He's hilarious. He's going to be there. Plus, we're going to have a huge population of veterans in the crowd. Gold Star families. It's just going to be an incredible night. We're going to have a live auction, a silent auction. The goal, one, is to obviously educate the everybody about Operation Song, celebrate our 10 years, but also to raise a little bit of money as well. Because again, we never charge veterans for this, so we got to make our money somewhere, right?
That's right. And both organizations, Wisdom and also Operation Song, are 501c nonprofit organizations, so that's definitely important.
Yeah.
And I look forward to getting up to Nashville on the 5th with my wife and enjoying the concert.
Yeah.
And, I also want to thank you. You provided some tickets for some of our veterans. So we'll be taking some blinded veterans from Nashville, VA.
Absolutely.
So we're excited there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're excited.
So that's going to be real exciting. The other thing that we want to talk a little bit about is you and I worked together, and we brought a gentleman together. His name is Ed. He's a World War II vet, and not only is Operation Song, but Wisdom for the Blind, we're working together to document the history of all our World War II vets and our Korean vets to make sure that's preserved. Can you talk about your program, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing?
Yeah, so I mentioned a little bit before, but I'm glad you brought out that preserving the history, because I look at what we're doing when we create these songs as preserving history. We're writing history. Some of these stories, especially with our World War II veterans, these are things you're never going to be taught in school. You're never going to hear on the news. You're never going to see in history books. But it's absolutely that, man. It's preserving history, and I'm glad you said that. So this was, like I mentioned before, is our World War II preservation project. We reach out to World War II veterans, as many as we can find. I think the recent statistic was that we're losing about 400 of those veterans a day. But we had the honor and privilege of writing with a 103-year-old World War II veteran out of your group there. And so, our goal is to write their song, not only write their song and tell their story, but also interview them to get more of their story and capture that, because it needs to be told,
The gentleman you worked with was Ed, and we just got back, like I said, from NASA, and we watched the Artemis 1 launch, and he's a character, let me tell you.
Yeah.
He was so excited, and he was just talking about everything. And I got to tell a little story. We had a dinner, and NASA had a guest speaker, Dr. Love, and he spoke, and, Ed, he's just a dynamic individual, but he worked on the Mercury, worked on the Apollo and the Hubble telescope, and he just did so much. Not only that, but he worked in the air wing in World War II. But he was talking during the keynote with Dr. Love, and Ed was talking about the metals that he used to weld with, and he had a piece of that, and just the stories about what he's done to help the astronaut program and all the technology in the world. That was a great opportunity. And then at the launch the other night, all the rocket engineers, from Johnson over in Houston were over there, just all around him, just listening to his stories.
Yeah.
It's good. And to be able to preserve these stories, for the future is just a fabulous, opportunity.
Absolutely. Man, I got to tell you, this has been one of my favorite projects. We've interviewed another gentleman here in Tennessee who was 103 years old. He fought in World War II and Korea, was captured in both wars, escaped from the North Koreans when they tried to hang him. He quit driving when he was 101 years old. This amazing guy. Another guy we wrote with in Georgia, Richard Stroud, he told us about how he landed his single engine aircraft on a carrier in the middle of a hurricane. I mean, just incredible stories. And it amazes me how, I went to Afghanistan in 2008, and man, I can't remember names, and half the things are dates, that from 2008. But these guys are so clear in their memory and the things that and people, it amazes me, so definitely.
It's so true. And Wisdom for the Blind, one of our Field of Sea events, we had four World War II vets at that one event.
Wow.
And it just, I was ecstatic when we had one.
Yeah.
I was going to my partner. I was like, man, we got one gentleman that's going with us. And then I had to call him back and said, well, we got two.
Yeah. Wow.
And by the end, we had four of them. And just to hear their stories is fabulous. And so, what Wisdom's doing is we're documenting it with the Vision of a Veteran series, and we're getting their story. And I believe you guys are doing some stuff too with videos and stuff. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're going and capturing more of their story and just preserving that, and then we turn it into a kind of a combination of, we do an interview with the songwriter as well, and so we have, it's typically an 8 to 10 minute video, and within that it's we have the veteran's story, and which basically kind of corresponds to the song, and some additional things as well, and then we'll have the songwriter portion of it that. And they tell their experience of writing with this veteran. And then, of course, the song is at the end,
Oh, that's just great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And, for our listeners out there, we're always looking for new World War II vets and Korean vets to make sure that we capture this and preserve it.
Absolutely.
So if you're interested, please, drop me an email, drop Mike an email, and let us know. We'll work together and make sure that happens for you.
Absolutely.
But it's about time for another break. And Mike, you're going to take us out with another song. I believe it's Nail in the Wall. Is that right?
It is. So I tell you, Nails in the Wall was written by an Army dependent, young man. He was 16 years old. His name was Kyle Fales, and his dad was stationed in Fort Knox. Kyle, he came in that morning and he wasn't quite sure. He's like, well, this is a veteran thing. He goes, why am I part of this? He wasn't really sure about it. And I said, look, buddy, you're serving too, man. You have to move when your dad moves. You got to sacrifice just as much as anybody. So you've got a story. So he comes back at the end of the day, and his story he wrote with Victoria Banks, one of our songwriters, and his song was called Nails in the Wall. And Kyle told this story of an Army kid having to move around all the time and changing friends and always, kind of feeling never like he could set down roots anywhere. And he mentioned, he said, we could never put nails in the wall. He says, we had to hang stuff up with 3M hooks. He goes, it's just a tough life, and it is. And it immediately made me think of my kids. I spent 21 years in, and I think we moved 12 times. And I think about my grandkids now because my son, he's been in the Army 8 years and he's moved 3 times, 4 times, so.
Let's listen to this great opportunity song here, Nails on the Wall, and we'll be right back.
Close your eyes, catch some sleep in the backseat. You'll wake up when you pull in the drive. Turn the key on a new set of memories. One more page being turned in your life. Leave that eggshell white unpainted. Home is more than decorations. So you line your pictures up along the hall. Soon you leave like you were never there at all. No nails in the wall. No nails in the wall. Put your backpack of books on your shoulder and smile when they ask you your name. You've made some friends and you'll keep getting closer, even when you're a time zone away. So leave that eggshell white unpainted. Home is more than decorations. It's the friends that always walk you down the hall. When your next plane lands, they'll be the first to call. No nails in the wall. No nails in the wall. Another suitcase, another chapter. Someday you'll look back and read the whole book after. Some parts are longer and some are shorter, but every one of them's important. So leave that eggshell white unpainted. Home is more than decorations. It's the faces in the pictures in the hall. The only things that lasted through it all. Your nails in the wall. Your nails in the wall.
96 years old, but the stories that he told were like something from a Hollywood movie.
Hi, this is Mike Byer, retired Army First Sergeant and Executive Director for Operation Song. Do you love a good story and great music? Then head over to the App Store or Google Play and download our Operation Song app. The Operation Song app is filled with patriotic songs and videos containing the stories of our nation's heroes. You can also see more great content on our YouTube page, and don't forget to like us on social media.
A torpedo hit his ship, and to this day still lives with the fact his buddies died, but somehow he survived.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's4tb.org, and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marina Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
What a great story song, man. That was Nails in the Wall.
Yeah.
Man, great song, but, it made me think listening to that song and you and I talking. We forget about the dependents and the wives and the husbands that, have to move around with our brothers and sisters as we serve. That was a great song. Tell us, how the feedback is. A lot of the songs, I know that I've heard several that bring in the children and, missing them and stuff.
Initially we primarily reached out to, just to veterans, but, we quickly realized that, veterans aren't the only one that serves. When you're in the military and you got a family, your family serves just as much as you do. They sacrifice
Amen.
as much as you do. And so, we quickly, started adding them in. And it started with a spouse retreat at Fort Campbell, but it quickly evolved into riding with Gold Star kids, military dependents of all ages, and Gold Star families, because, we would not have been able to do what we did have not our families been there to support us, So some of the best songs we've written have come out of, riding with our kids or riding with Gold Star families. It's just, and the thing that amazes me is that, especially with our Gold Star families, a lot of them have come in and they thought, well, can I ride in this? I mean, I didn't serve, that's the first thing they say. Well, I didn't serve, and I'm like, you sacrificed everything, the least we can do for you is to write your song. It just always amazes me that they feel that they don't deserve this, but man, I can't tell you that they gave everything, and our families sacrificed so much. So it's the least we can do is to help repay them back with trying to honor their lost loved ones,
And sometimes we forget that that's a big part of what's going on. Our brothers and sisters are out there, keeping us safe and keeping America safe, but also the families give so much too, and it's it's very touching. I've heard a lot of your songs. I remember there was one song about a young lady, and the father was missing the hugs and the kisses. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a great story. And some of the music I've heard is just a trip. It's some good stuff, some good stories. Tasmanian,
yeah.
Yeah, you got to tell me the story on that one. That's like a wild story there.
Yeah, so that was, we wrote that one pretty early on in Tasmania, and I think that was Joshua Holsey that wrote that, veteran. he was angry and he was dealing with some PTSD. And so I think he said, in the session, he said, sometimes this makes me want to go Tasmanian on somebody, And so, of course, that became the song. And I think that was probably like the first kind of rock song that we wrote. But yeah, it's a great one, man. I mean, it really clearly outlines, kind of the frustration and the anger sometimes that as veterans dealing with PTSD and things that we experience. So,
and the reason I brought that one up is because I wanted to lead into that. But, to me, I think getting the story out there, talking with it, and, talking with others, vets and other people, this is a great opportunity to help reach out and get a little support there, and things like that.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And and many of our veterans, especially locally, that have been through the program, they do that. We actually have an alumni group that they meet a couple, in the spring and the fall for around 8 weeks. And yeah, they kind of formed a pretty tight support group, and it's been good for them. So
that's good. So
yeah,
that's a retreat that you hold once a year kind of thing.
Well, it's not a retreat necessarily. They kind of meet to support each other, but we usually pair one songwriter with them, and they'll go in and usually twice a month for about 3 months, and they'll go in and they'll typically write group songs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. There's some really good stuff comes out of it. Yeah.
We have a program similar. It's called Cup of Joe. And everybody knows Joe's a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So sitting around and talk. So we have Cup of Joe. We meet once a month on the fourth Thursday of every month. It's a Zoom thing where everybody gets in there and just talks.
That's cool.
And it's all about talking with your brothers and sisters, and it's a good way to heal and talk.
Absolutely.
I know another good song that you guys have that I enjoy is America. That was another good song.
The Miss America?
Miss America, yeah, Miss America.
Yeah, that was actually a group song with our group out of the Alvin C. York VA in Murfreesboro. They wrote that, and I think David Kent was the songwriter on that. But it was kind of a play on words, Miss America, but about being, of course, deployed and missing home. So
Missing America, yeah. It's a great song. You hear the name of it, and then you listen to the story. Like a lot of the songs, it has a great kick. And Miss America, Missing America while you're deployed, keeping us all safe is pretty cool. We've covered a lot of stuff, but want to share a few more things. But I wanted to make sure that before we get too far off track, did we miss anything that you'd like to share about your organization?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered the bases, covered how to contact us. Again, it's at contact@operationsong.org if you're a veteran or family member that want to write with us. We mentioned, of course, our December 5th big show. You can get tickets for that at franklintheater.com.
And there's still seats available for that. So.
Still seats. They're going quick, though. But I tell you, you won't regret coming. It's going to be an incredible night. It's going to be just very special. So
I look forward to flying up there for the day and see you and enjoy your fellowship and enjoy, and also meeting some of our other vets from the Nashville area. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward to that good fellowship. I guess one exciting thing I'd like to talk about is we're going to be working together.
That's right. Yes, so next October, right?
Right, October 15th, part of the Wisdom Forum at Sea, where we're going to have a bunch of workshops. We're also going to be working with Operation Song. And tell us what you've got planned for that.
We're planning on joining you on the cruise there. And I'm not sure how many songwriters we're going to bring with us yet, but we're going to have a pool of songwriters that'll be there on the cruise with us. And the goal is the veterans that are going to be there, we're going to try to write your stories and have a performance of the songs there on the boat. So
that's going to be awesome.
I say typical retreat format, except it's not typical. We're going to be on a cruise ship. Yeah.
That's going to be fun. And the Wisdom Forum at Sea is October 15th on the Royal Caribbean Harmony of the Sea. We're going to be going into Mexico and Roatan. You can go to the website and find out about that. But we got 12 different classes on Introduction to Braille. We got high-tech classes. We got tips on playing video games with special remote controls that vibrate and things like that. We got some cooking classes. And then we're going to have the Wisdom Games, where we're going to have 12 sports such as shuffleboard and pool luge. You're going to have races going down the big slides on the ship and see if you can get yourself a gold medal. and we got surfing, we got ice skating. So we got the Olympic Games. We're going to have the songwriters. We're going to have classes, and we got a great keynote speaker who's going to be talking about technology. It's just going to be a great time, great party, and maybe you'll see me on ice skates. Oh no!
Sounds like a good time, buddy.
I'm looking forward to that, and we're going to hear your group play at sometime in the show. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So our songwriters, we love to show them off. Not just in the songs they've written with us, but their hit songs as well. So we're not sure who we're going to bring, who's going to be available yet, but it's whoever we do bring, it'll be amazing.
So if you're out there and you want to join us, it's going to be a great time. You can go to the website and look up Wisdom Forum at Sea. It's the yellow box down at the bottom of the website there. Just click that. You'll see all the classes and everything, and we hope to see you there. But we also think you're also going to join us on a fishing trip. Is that true?
Yeah, so that was in May, correct?
May, that's right.
Yeah, so
May 5th.
Yeah, and I think we talked about for that one, that was going to be me coming down there, right?
Right. Yep. Just go down there and talk a little bit about the program. That's going to be May 5th in Clearwater on board the Double Eagle. And don't want to give my age away too much, but when I was 13 years old, I used to clean that boat when it was first out there, and then I became the third mate. And the captain told me, he said, you've known this boat since you were a little boy, so if it's okay with everybody on board the ship, I'm going to let you take it out. So if everybody's okay with a blind man driving a boat underneath the bridge, I'm going to be there. So you guys got to vote on it, but we're going to be taking about 80 vets fishing, so I hope you guys can join us for that. That's on May 5th next year. Well, Mike, it's been a great time having you here. You've just shared so much with us, and I think you're going to take us out with one more song.
I think we got one more song for you, yeah. It was called How Do I Turn It Off?
And tell us the story on that one, buddy.
So we wrote this one with at our Warrior Outreach Ranch Retreat in Georgia, Forston, Georgia, just outside Fort Benning. And this was written by Staff Sergeant Nate Castillo and Nashville songwriter Doug Gill. Nate was in the process of, he'd been to Afghanistan a few times and Army Ranger, and he was in the process, I think, of getting medically retired at the time. And, he sat down with Doug, and, like so many of us, his biggest concern was, how do I turn it off? How do I turn off being a soldier and the combat and the things that I've been through? And it's a valid question, that many of us have. And sometimes we struggle to figure out. But this is one of my favorite songs because it spoke to so many veterans and spoke to me immediately when I heard it. And Nate loved it. That was what was important. And so I haven't talked to Nate since then, but I hope, and I feel it did, but I hope that this song helped kind of give him some peace with that,
That's great. And Mike, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for letting us play some of the great music on the radio station in between our podcast and letting our brothers and sisters hear some great music and some great stories. And our listeners out there, you want to get up with Operation Song, you can go to our website under affiliates. You can see them there. You can look on operationsong.org, a website, and we got to do a lot of things together. So, check us both out. Check the radio station. Check their app out, their YouTube channel. It's all around. It's great stuff and great stories. So once again, thanks. We're going to go listen to this great song, and then we'll come back with Ellie over at the news station. She's going to give us the latest news in the mailbox. And again, thanks, Mike, for joining us, buddy.
Man, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed it, and I appreciate it.
And let's get to this song here.
There's a buzz I always hear in my head, not in my ears. It's the sound of war, the sound of danger, the siren song of an Army Ranger. How do I turn it off? How do I make it right? Leave one life behind me and learn how to sleep at night. All that training, trying to be the best soldier that I can. How do I turn it off and learn to be that good a man? Tell me now, how do I turn it off? There's a peaceful place, soft and warm. It's on your pretty face and in your arms. The strength of your love, it gives me purpose, and the nagging fear, I don't deserve it. How do I turn it off? How do I make it right? Leave one life behind me and learn how to sleep at night. All that training, trying to be the best soldier that I can. How do I turn it off and learn to be that good a man? Tell me now, how do I turn it off? Leave behind the warrior, let my tender side shine through. How do I make myself the man I need to be for you? How do I turn it off? How do I make it right? Leave one life behind me and learn how to sleep at night. All that training, trying to be the best soldier that I can. How do I turn it off and learn to be that good a man? Tell me now, how do I turn it off? Oh, how do I turn it off? How do I turn it off?
Thousands of brave men and women who served in the United States Armed Forces have given their eyesight in defense of our freedom. And the Blinded Veterans Association wants to give them their freedom back. But it needs your help. Go to BVA.org to find out about how BVA's free programs, services, advocacy, and more help America's heroes to not just deal with the emotional and physical issues of sudden sight loss or impairment, but actually work to get them back to the independent lives they deserve to live. Go to BVA.org today.
96 years old, but the stories that he told were like something from a Hollywood movie.
Hi, this is Mike Byer, retired Army First Sergeant and Executive Director for Operation Song. Do you love a good story and great music? Then head over to the App Store or Google Play and download our Operation Song app. The Operation Song app is filled with patriotic songs and videos containing the stories of our nation's heroes. You can also see more great content on our YouTube page, and don't forget to like us on social media.
A torpedo hit his ship, and to this day still lives with. The fact his buddies died, but somehow he survived.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Thanks, Ben. And to our listeners, thanks for dropping in today to the 5-Minute Flash, where we bring you up-to-date knowledge of hot topics. Now to our first story. Wisdom for the Blind held the third launch viewing event on November 16th. The Artemis 1 finally took off with a flawless launch with a handful of veterans, family members, and caregivers. The group had the opportunity to see it as it launched at 1:47 in the morning, during its first Field 2C Experience event in September. W4TB hosted 40 veterans, family members, and caregivers to this 3-day event, where the participants had the opportunity to enjoy a day at the NASA Cape Canaveral Visitor Center, attend a private reception hosted by the director of the Johnson Space Center in Houston, and learn about the Artemis mission, in an overview with Tracy Minish, Mission Control Center Integration Outreach Specialist with NASA. Wisdom for the Blind also hosted a barbecue dinner with guest speaker Dr. Stan Love, an astronaut who flew on the shuttle. Dr. Love held an awesome presentation and kept the veterans' engagement to the max. Finally, the participants had the opportunity to enjoy the launch from a VIP viewing stand where they were able to view Artemis 1's attempt to take off. Even though the launch was canceled due to mechanical failures, the participants of the Field 2C experience hosted by Wisdom for the Blind and NASA, allowing our participants to be ingrained with wonderful shared memories forever. We would like to once again thank our contributors and sponsors for making this event happen. The Orcam Company, Southern Florida Maritime Lions Club Organization, and O&G, the best media team ever. Wisdom for the Blind is excited to announce 3 upcoming events. First, Operation Song is hosting its 10th anniversary concert on December 5th. W4TB will be hosting a handful of veterans from the Nashville VA. For more information on tickets, go to operationsong.org. To help us celebrate our first anniversary, Wisdom for the Blind will throw a party with a special Field 2C Experience event by going deep-sea fishing on board the Double Eagle 3, sailing out of Clearwater Beach, Florida on May 5, 2023. Finally, Wisdom for the Blind will be hosting Wisdom Forum at Sea, a cruise to the Caribbean. This event will present workshops, new technology reviews, songwriting sessions with our partners at operationsong.org, the Wisdom Games, team building exercises, and much, much more on October 15th of 2023. If you are interested in future events that Wisdom for the Blind will be hosting, or if you want more information, please visit our site w4tb.org. Now let's take a look in the Wisdom for the Blind inbox and see what our viewers have to say this week. First, Eddie from Florida, one of the World War II veterans who attended all 3 Field 2C Experience Artemis 1 event at Cape Canaveral, wrote, "Thanks for the special way you put a smile in my day. I had the best day of my life in the last 103 years. I felt so special, just like a king. It was so wonderful meeting all the special people and astronauts. I had a wonderful day. Thanks to the Wisdom for the Blind team for making this happen. Many thanks. Eddie." Eddie, thank you so much for your feedback. To listeners, check out our website for information on upcoming Field 2C Experience events and book today. Next, a veteran from New York asked, "We really love the podcast series Insight to the VA. If we would like to contribute to keep new episodes coming, how can we help?" The best way for listeners to support us is to donate. If you would like to contribute, there are 2 different ways. The first way is to go to the Wisdom for the Blind website at w4bv.org from a browser, then hit the Donate Now button to get to a secure form to fill out. The second way is to mail a check to Wisdom for the Blind Attention Donations at 1005 Marina Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. All donations will help keep the Wisdom coming and are tax deductible. Thanks for your question. To our listeners, please remember that if you have any kind of feedback, you can always email them to feedback@w4tb.org. Should you need more information on the Operation Song, please go to w4tb.org. Or you can also email us at info@w4tb.org. Please remember to download the Amazon Alexa skill Wisdom for the Blind Radio, or go to the Apple Store and download the Wisdom for the Blind Radio app to listen to Wisdom Radio 24 hours a day at any time for up-to-date news, podcasts, events, and even some good music. This is Ellie with Wisdom for the Blind Studios. Back to you, Ben, and keep up the good work.
What's more perfect than exploring new cultures while soaking up the sun and dipping your toes in turquoise waters? Doing these things with your family and, of course, your brothers and sisters from Wisdom for the Blind. Wisdom for the Blind is pleased to announce its first Caribbean Forum to be held on board Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas. This dreamy vacation will be filled with thrilling experiences such as surfing, rock climbing, and even an electrifying 10-story plunge in the tallest slide at sea. This is not your average family getaway. There's fun and entertainment for all ages, but you'll also have learning workshops in technology and medical breakthroughs focused on the blind and vision impaired. We will sail from beautiful Miami on October 15th, 2023, visiting fabulous ports: Rotan in Honduras, Costa Maya and Cozumel in Mexico, and Royal Caribbean's private island, Coco Cay in the Bahamas. Add 2 spectacular days at sea, and while connecting with people that may experience the same challenges you do, you'll find unforgettable activities, make lasting memories, and soar to new heights. You'll learn about fascinating cultures and customs while tasting local delicacies and lounging in luxury. Wisdom for the Blind has also partnered with Operation Song, so you can have the opportunity to tell your service stories through songwriting. All of this and more starts at just $602 per person, based on double occupancy plus taxes and fees of $168. So what are you waiting for? Pack up your stuff, gather the crew, and head out on the open seas. You and your family will be talking about it for many years to come. Don't miss this great opportunity. Go to w4tb.org and find the button that says Caribbean Forum, or email us at forum@w4tb.org and book now. Space is limited. Don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend. Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's w4tb.org and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marina Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Ellie, thank you very much for bringing us up to date. And once again, I'd like to thank Mike from Operation Song for sharing with us such great music. And that last song, How Do I Turn It Off? What a story. What a story. And thank you guys for listening. Please come back and join us for the next episode of Vision of a Veteran, where we're going to have Ed, who just finished doing a song, and I had a great opportunity to be with during the Field at Sea event over at NASA in Cape Canaveral. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again, and I hope everybody has a great holiday, and we look forward to hearing anything from you by going to feedback@w4tb.org. Everybody have a good day. Thanks for joining us. And remember, be kind to all of your friends, family, and anybody that you don't know. Just say hello and have a good day. This has been for Vision of a Veteran. Have a great one.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Vision of a Veteran. Keep a lookout for the next episode coming soon. We hope you enjoyed our guests and got some ideas on how to navigate the seas to reach calmer waters. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you could, please donate to help support W4TB. You can do so at W4TB.org. It'll ensure that we can help more veterans as we move along. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's4tb.org and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marina Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33315. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind. You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.